7.2, which is Kim Zavanovich, respecting item 9.2, amendment to the mandatory vaccine verification policy. So, Kim, if you could slowly make your way down safely, down those stairs to the podium. And when you get here, when you're ready, you'll have 5 minutes. At the 4-minute mark, you'll hear a bell, which is a 1-minute warning for yourself. Yes, it's certainly permissible to sit and be comfortable.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. My name is Kim Zavanovich. I was born, raised, and educated in Hamilton. I currently reside in Ward 12. Most of my working life was spent at Dofasco, where I managed operations. I also did a stint with the HR department working with transitional people. They couldn't perform their core functions, and my assignment was to provide them with alternative work. This assignment provided me much insight and understanding of what marginalized people face. I think you know I'm here to discuss your vaccine policy and how it goes against your stated values of inclusion and equal opportunity. I would like to state that I'm not an anti-vaxxer, misogynist, racist, or right-wing conspiracist. I think all these terms are appalling and divisive and hateful, and they deserve to be buried deep under the Canadian shield with the nuclear waste. I believe it's time for reconciliation and healing, and this council has an opportunity to begin that process. We all know that the vaccines do not stop infections, transmission, illness, or death. We also know that there are risks associated with the vaccines. And for most healthy people, the risks outweigh the benefits. COVID-19 is endemic, and most of us have had it. Natural immunity is prevalent in society, and it is recognized as being immunized. At the time when vaccine policies were being adopted, it was believed that this would stop the spread of COVID-19. The city followed suit, as did many, believing it was the answer. I'm not here to debate that. I believe everyone's doing their best in following the information available at the time. I also believe the city experience has left a bad taste in your culture, and it needs fixing. The city is a public entity, and it must include all its citizens. I know many vaccinated people were dismayed when I said to them and told them what your policy was for hiring. These aren't small fringe groups. They're solid citizens, and most of them are vaccinated. Unfortunately, these policies have been normalized in most of our institutions, including my former one. This does not make it right. There's also another group of citizens that have been invisibly marginalized, and they are the vaccinated who have been injured. And it's sad that they've had to form a coalition because no one wants to listen to them. So I see 3 options. You do nothing. You're legally fine, but you're morally bankrupt. Your values are nothing but virtue signaling. It also reflects that there's still hatred and vile towards the unvaccinated. Doing nothing does not make this go away. I suggest that you're playing to lose. Option 2, you maintain your policy and you change your values. You take out an ad, notify your citizens that you no longer are an equal opportunity employer. Yeah, you could even hang up a big sign out front. Unvaccinated need not apply. Circa Alabama, 1960s. Not much of an option, but at least it's the truth. Option 3, a couple more minutes.
That leaves you 1 minute.
You change the policy and remove the vaccine requirement because it's right and you know the information is there. You have an opportunity to show transparency, build engagement, build back trust, and start the healing. And in fact, you can kick off your transparency committee by announcing that information has changed and you've changed your policy. Equally important, there's no more injuries. I call this playing to win. Taking bold action is very difficult and it goes against the narrative and norms, but that's a fear. It's much easier to do nothing. Why rock the boat? I do not see any evidence from higher authority going to make these changes. These must start locally.
That brings you to your time, and
I request another minute.
You can. It would require a councillor around the table to request to extend your delegation time. It's clear that you only need 1 more minute, and Councillor Pauls is prepared to move that, but before...
I have a point of some kind of order before then.
Okay, I'll likely lean to Elsie on this, as I'm not sure in this scenario, when we've given the delegate their publicly accounted for 5 minutes, we're in the process of moving to extend it, but there's a question of order. So if you could, delegate, just hold yourself for a moment. Pause. Thank you. As we clarify the procedure here.
So we would need a mover and a seconder to move it, and then we would vote on extending by 5 times, by however long committee wishes to extend.
Got it.
Sorry, I don't know what Councillor Crutch's question is.
I wish I knew. I'll do my best here. So I don't know what the process is when something happens during a delegation about which I need to raise an issue. So how do I do that? Can I just say something?
I'm not sure I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking.
The delegate said something about which I have a concern.
Okay.
I need to really address that right now before we continue, but I don't know how to do that. So wait till it's received. It's the part where we're receiving.
If there's a comment that you'd like to make on the delegation, you can hold it and raise it at the end of the delegation if it's something to be like a comment.
Yes, correct.
And seek clarity further, or is it to seek clarity of the delegate? In which case, then you're going to have to wait until questions are open for the delegate.
I suppose it's that I'm concerned about something that was said and I don't want to be said again. So I can't wait till later to deal with this. So how do I deal with that? I know. But
It was
the reality.
if it was another councillor, but
Yeah. So what's your concern, Councillor?
yeah.
Okay. My concern is that I think you just said that you likened your concern
But
today.
we're not debating, right? So
Right.
you have an expression of concern to me as chair.
Fair enough. That's a
and
good
then
point. Yeah.
I can direct our delegate to be cautious of language if there is something deemed
Thank you.
inappropriate
I appreciate
to
that.
move forward. Got
Thank you. This is my first time
Yeah.
ever having to do this, so I
Me
appreciate
too.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
concerned the delegate likened their concern to, I think, a remark about racism or slavery from Alabama in the 1960s. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think people should be saying those kinds of things. And so I'm really concerned about that kind of language continuing.
I can assure
I'll leave
you.
it there.
Hold on, delegate. Sorry.
I'll leave it there.
Thank
I think
you.
it's pretty obvious what my concern is.
Thank you, delegate. You've heard the concern, so I'd advise you as chair to withhold any kind of commentary likening what you're delegating on to this council acting in alignment with, that era of slavery and post-slavery. So we do have a motion on the floor to extend the delegation by 1 minute, and there was a seconder. Second by Councillor Jackson, so you can proceed for 1 more minute, sir.
Through the chair.
Oh, sorry, after we vote. My apologies.
I don't see Councillor McMeekin. Do you see?
Councillor McMeekin?
I can't see on the screen.
Hamilton's facing monumental problems. I can't imagine how busy everyone is, and perhaps you think the things I'm talking about is frivolous and a waste of time. Rest assured it's not. If you build a house without a foundation, it collapses. A boat is rudderless. You can't steer it. Your values, beliefs, and principles are your foundation, your rudder. Every decision you make must be based around your fundamental beliefs. I believe you, Madam Mayor and Council, you have a fantastic opportunity to move in the right direction and start a much-needed healing process. You can choose the hard road of leading or the comfortable path of following. This is up to each and every one of you, and respectfully suggest you look in the mirror. In closing, I encourage you to take 15 minutes and browse through this training manual that I am giving to you as a gift called Playing to Win, which I received in the 90s at DeFasco. I think it has really good information, and I suggest perhaps Council go for this type of training. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That brings you to your time. And at this point, we're in questions from committee. First speaker is Councillor Pauls.